Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Max and welcome to the video, and today as you can see it's not going to be a VOD video, mainly because VOD in my opinion is a sinking ship, dog shit game, monetization is out of hand, and the development team is just a bunch of idiots. So if you want to leave that sinking ship and you want to play an actual decent game, I'm going to give you 5 tips to get you into War Thunder. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 baseline tips to actually get you into battle and have you actually be doing a little bit of damage in the game. So we'll talk about spotting, actual doing damage to enemies, winning the battle, how to unlock new tanks, and at the end we'll talk a little bit about gameplay and how the battle actually develops. Now to show you the spotting mechanic in this game, I actually loaded into a test drive battle, which is kind of like a training battle, and let's see if we can find an enemy. Do you see an enemy? Because I do. Is this an enemy? Oh, maybe it's not. Is this an enemy? By the way, shoot the machine gun, you just hold space. Maybe that is. Oh, we got a hit and we got a kill. That was an enemy. So notice how enemies actually don't have any kind of identification. They have no tank name, no nickname, and no health bar. They just kind of exist on the map. So in this game, there's no bullshit double bushing, there's no CVS, there's no camo indexes, none of that shit. You don't need an Excel spreadsheet to play the game. If you see a tank, it's likely an enemy and then you just shoot it. Teammates will have a nickname and a tank name, and that's it. So you can kind of tell if it's a teammate or not. So how this game functions is every single tank is always going to be visible on the map. So the only way to spot them is just you see them with line of sight and then you kill them. Now light tanks do have the ability to actually spot people. You hit V and they will light up on the minimap. So if you look at the minimap at the bottom, you can see the enemies actually lit up. That would not happen in an actual battle, but when you do shoot someone, they do actually light up if you do hit them. And I believe if they also shoot you, they also light up for a second on minimap too. And light tanks have the ability to spot. This is technically a light tank, but in a training battle, you don't have that ability. You hit V when you aim at a tank, and they'll light up on minimap, and you get additional XP. So if you've noticed, this game actually does not have a health bar in any kind of tanks, it's all module damage. So how do you actually kill someone in the game? Well, if we look at this little guy, and if I shoot him on the back, you can see a little x-ray vision that shows you what I actually damaged. I damaged his engine, his gas tank, and some guy in the tank, but he's not dead yet. He might not be able to move, but he's not dead, so we gotta shoot him again. And once we actually knock out every single crew member or all the modules, then the tank is actually dead. So in this game, since it's all just module damage and no actual health, the point that you shoot a tank at is actually quite important. So if I shoot this guy in the back, I take out his engine, he's not able to move, but I didn't do a lot of damage to the actual tank. Now, to actually kill him, I want to be shooting his side if possible, because that's where the ammo is going to be. And as you can see, I hit the ammo explodes, and the tank is now dead. So not only do you have to know how to actually penetrate tanks, you also have to know which spots to shoot them to do any kind of actual damage. So if I shoot him in the side, let's see what I did. I shot out his engine and one crew member, that's not gonna kill him, but if I do shoot him in the side of his turret and attempt to hit his ammo, that is gonna kill him. Because then it actually explodes and kills the ammo, and then the actual tank explodes itself. So obviously shooting cupolas is not going to be the best option, depending on the ammo you use obviously. Now ammo in this game is quite important, but I'll get into that in the next video, it is quite complex. Now how do you actually win in the battle? The only 2 ways to win in a battle is 1, eliminate the whole enemy team and all the tanks that they have, and 2 is capture points. So as you can see on the top of the screen, there's 2 lines, one for me, one for the enemy, and that is the amount of tickets that you have. And if you can see at the bottom, the little B was shown with a little circle around it. Once that is fully in, you actually capture the base and you can start bleeding the enemy points. You want to have a majority of the points captured to actually bleed any tickets, and a ticket is just some kind of point which the team has, and once you have no points left, you lose the game. And the second option of eliminating all the tanks in battle is unlikely, mainly because you can actually spawn in battle with multiple tanks, and there is spawn points and stuff like that. I'll get into that in the next video once we actually go and play a game. The main thing that you have to know is you have to capture the majority of the points, and once that enemy line is all the way in the middle and it's completely blacked out, then you will be winning the game. Now, how do you actually get new tanks in this game? Well, if you hit this little button on the bottom, you'll open up the tech tree, and there is 10 nations. Each one of them have tanks, helicopters, aviation, and fleet. Some nations might not have the fleet, might not have helicopters, but most of them have planes and tanks. And it is quite simple. You hit this little button on the tank research, and it will start researching the tank. Now, the beautiful thing about this game is the XP that you get in battle is not tied to the tank that you play. Because as you can see at the bottom, I have a lineup. This is not all the tanks that I own, this is actually my lineup that I'm taking into battle, and I can take out any of these tanks into battle. But by playing each one of these tanks, I'm getting XP, which is gonna go to that tank, the ZSU 57-2, no matter which tank I'm playing. So That is a amazing thing, because if you don't like a certain tank in the game, let's say I don't like this tank and I don't want to play to unlock this, I can actually play this tank and unlock this by just playing this. Now, modification XP, which is the modules in this game, is only tied to the tank itself, so if you get 1,000 points in that tank specifically, you'll get 1,000 XP for that tank within that battle, and that is going to go towards the modifications, and also 1,000 points of XP from that tank is going to go to research the next tank. So each tank actually comes like this and it's going to stay like this with this same gun, with this same turret. You cannot change those on a tank. What you can do is you can kind of improve them. So with the engine, transmission, suspension, or stuff like this, you will be actually helping the mobility of the tank. The protection side is going to be some parts you can actually repair if an engine is out. An FPE system, so if you do get lit on fire, you can actually help with that. And the firepower stuff is going to be new shells and a bunch of stuff just to help elevate the gun and move it. My best advice would be, if you look at the tier bonus, so there's tiers 1 to 4, and if you go through this whole line, you will get additional XP towards the next tank, and then you go through this whole line, you get additional XP again. So I would just keep on doing that. I wouldn't prioritize one over the other, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Now, the last point I want to show you is actual gameplay and how the battle unfolds, but I am going to start with just shooting. As you can see, I'm aiming above the tank to actually hit it, and that's because in this game, bullet drop is not calculated automatically like in VOD. So in VOD, obviously you have the circle, and once it's fully in, that's when you shoot, and the bullet still flies to the left. Now in this game, I'm moving my tank, I'm moving my gun, obviously, yeah. And so my dispersion should be quite high, and I just shoot the tank, and it hits it exactly what I was aiming at. So when you're driving, you'll see the gun bobbing up and down. That is because there's no automatic stabilization either, at least in low tier tanks. But the best thing about this game is, if you aim at some point, it will shoot exactly in that point. You don't have plus minus 25 and the bullet is not going to fly to the left. Now, with the actual gameplay and how the battle unfolds, do whatever you want to do, to be honest. Like, this is not as bad as VOD, when you have to take a specific bush in the light tank to actually be able to spot enemies and contribute to the team. You don't have to push specific objectives with a heavy tank. You can kind of do what you want to do. So because spotting doesn't exist in this game as it does in VOD, actually pushing sidelines is quite effective, because the enemies will not see you on the minimap, they will not see you lit up, and they actually have to spot you. So if no one spots you behind foliage, you can just be shooting from the sidelines all the time and getting kills. Just make sure that you kind of stay somewhat close to the battlefield and you don't go too far away, because if you do go out of bounds in the map, and yes, you can actually go outside of the limits of the map, it'll give you 30 seconds to go back in, and if you don't, you will explode. But it's also kind of a nice tactic in light tanks. If you do want to actually go outside of the map and then go back in, that might be a little bit helpful, because that way you can actually flank enemies and have them not expect you. So that's going to be it for this video. In the next one, I'll talk about the actual economics of this game, the XP, the money, premium account, premium tanks, and then we'll go into an actual battle, and I'll show you some live gameplay and how you can actually be effective in the map. Maybe how you want to think a little bit in the game, how to make actual decent decisions, and how to contribute to the team at least a little bit if you're playing the light tank, heavy tank, medium tank, alongside of all the shells that you want to be using and the difference between all of them and how to stay effective in the game. I'm also going to show you SPAs and planes, because that is a big aspect of this game. You don't technically have SPGs in this game. Yes, some do still exist, but they're not used the same way as in VOD. You don't have a top-down view. The main issue in this game is going to be fucking planes, okay? Planes act the same way as SPGs. They will just bomb you, and you can't do anything about it. You get bombed, you die instantly. You have no choice, okay? So I'll be showing you that too, and hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.